Top 94 WJTT. It's your girl, Sign Up K here.
Big Tula.
We got Josey, singer from Atlanta, the East Side, that is. Now let's get into who you are. How'd you get your start in music?
I got my start in music by my mom. She was the creative director of So So Def. You know, she worked with TLC, a lot of people. She also worked with LaFace Records. And I think I just wanted to be like her so much that I just kind of pushed myself into music. Also with the fact that I was just loud. I was a very loud child, and, it wasn't really until like, I think high school or middle school when I realized that I could hold a tune.
Also an actress, including musicals. So how did you get into that?
Musicals. So I went to Tri-Cities High here in Atlanta, and you were either in music theater or some sort of like performing art, or you were in football. And the path was already kind of laid for me. So by the time I went to college, I only did a year before leaving to go to Broadway. I worked on Broadway. It was a very beautiful experience as a 19, 20-year-old girl. Like I definitely am very grateful for that stepping stone. But I was realizing that I was writing music during the matinees. Like in between shows, I was also writing music, and I realized that that's probably what I should like go after. That is where my heart is. Because it was like every time I would finish a show, I would walk out of the theater and it would be dark. And I'm a Southern girl. I love sunlight. I love the warm rain. And I realized it wasn't for me. So luckily, COVID hit and I was able to come back home and start writing music and actually putting out my own music instead of performing someone else's music.
See, I love that. I guess it's a blessing because at that young, most people don't know what they want to do. And I call COVID a blessing in disguise because even though, it's a lot of death, a lot of dark things surrounding it, it gave people a chance to reset and really figure out what they want to do with their lives.
Exactly. Then, I was thinking, I was like, half of my life is gone. This is my But honestly, I wouldn't have came to the conclusion that I need to just jump careers if it happened. It was definitely that push. So I agree. It was definitely a blessing in disguise, aside from, the sadness that it brought.
Yeah. Well, now switching over to your music, I got a chance to listen to it. Me and Tula did. And I feel like I'm hearing my inner thoughts, or you helped me better understand the feelings that I could not comprehend that I was feeling. Was this kind of relatability your intention when making music?
Yeah. I see, my thing about making music, is the fact that sometimes I have like mental health, which we all do. And I realized about that. One thing about myself is that when I'm sad, I like to feel it. I like to sit in it for a little bit, but I can't stay in it. And I always want my music to reflect when I get out of it. And I want people to know that, yes, there is that thing where, you're in it at first, but you always have to get yourself out of it. So I like to make up-tempo music. And even if it is like a ballad, or even if it is like almost like a slow tempo, or I still want there to be a beat under it, because people deserve to dance. I think that is a thing that Janet Jackson does so well. Like, she knows that times are crazy, but we deserve to dance. We deserve to be happy, and I think that is exactly what I want my music to portray for people. And that is a little bit of relatability, to know that the singer is going through mental health, but she gonna dance. She's going to be happy the next day. Yeah, and I should too. Yeah.
So if you could describe your music so if you could describe your music in 3 words, what would they be?
My music in 3 words. Unapologetic, crazy, and black.
Okay.
I feel like people need to go through the lyrics to know that it's not like crazy where it's like crash out. Well, I do have a song called Crash Out, but I would like to, I want people to feel, that there are different emotions that they can feel within my music. Not it's crazy. I don't know. It's up to the listener. If somebody wants to think that it's crazy, that's them. Hey.
Double back on your comment on you want to give people something to dance to, that tempo. I get that in Pay for My Drink. Right. And then with Unapologetic and Crazy, I get that in Mixed Signals, which I love. The visuals go crazy, by the way, but in your video, you're seeing going off on the phone, payphone, which is very creative, full of frustration because of the other person on the other line is playing games, of course, giving you mixed signals. So how do you deal with that in real life? Being that, the dating pool today is trash. So how are you dealing with that?
I'm just writing about it. Honestly, so my next album it's entitled Serial Romantic. And I realize, not in the case of me being a serial dater, but in the case of just wanting to give your heart genuinely to someone, and then when it doesn't work, I give it to the next, and in hopes that it would, be cared for in the same way that I would care for theirs. And I realized that at a point I needed to give my heart back to myself. I needed to feed my own heart and my own essence. And, it's just like the dating pool is trash, but I can't let that I can't let that taint who I am at my core, because I'm still a lover girl, and that's just how it is going to be until the end of my days. And whoever gets to experience that, good job for them. They bagged the real one. So yeah.
So you talked a lot about how you write your music when you're feeling certain emotions, or you kind of like live in the moment, but then you move on. So what's a time where you've written something before, and now that you listen back to it or read it, that you feel different about than when you first wrote it?
There is a song entitled Death of a Black Girl that was my first song that I ever put out. And Death of a Black Girl at that time was so pivotal for me, where I was just feeling insecure with my own self. And a lot of my outside reality was reflected of my own insecurities. And I realized that once I started loving myself even more, it really didn't matter. Like there was a lyric in there, it was like, uh, uh, he only wants her with the lights off, or something like that. Like it, stuff like that. It doesn't faze me anymore, because I love myself way, 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 way too much now to ever let any of those instances ever happen with me in my heart, ever, ever, ever. So I think I'm more stronger than I was when I first wrote Death of a Black Girl. And I was like 19 when I wrote it too. So I hadn't experienced anything of what I've experienced now at 26.
With that, it seems like you went through a period of, self-discovery almost. And one of my favorite projects is Scorpio's Transformation, Chapter 1, the 4 a.m. Epiphany. And I feel like you're awakened by your thoughts pulling on you to define who you are and who you want to be. Have you figured that out yet?
I feel like I read somewhere where Scorpios go through like this consistent transformation, like, I guess, of shedding their shell. And right now, so the first thing that had happened, I turned 25 and I was in LA, and it was almost as if I was like looking in a mirror, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just way too aware right now. Just like way too aware. And then I started living life. Life was good. And then hitting 26 is like my conversation started changing. I'm like, you a little off. And I don't think I need to be having conversations with you. Like, I feel like the transformation is always happening, because when I was 17, I didn't like the way that I looked, and I was like, all right, well, it's time to get in that gym. It's time to work. It was like, that was my transformation of just like shedding who I was from being a teenager, and then going on Broadway. I like had to shed who I was as a Broadway actor to become a singer-songwriter. I had to shed that. I think I'm always going through transformations. And I think right now the red hair does it well for me. Like I feel like a whole new woman at 26. So yeah, like transformation is a big thing. Me being a Scorpio is also a big thing. I know some people don't believe in astrology, but I tie it in with my Christianity, and I do believe in the art of transforming. And I feel like as a Black girl, as a Black woman, I need to always be evolving. I need to always be evolving for myself and for other people who are looking at me.
Yeah, I love that. And that red hair is definitely doing what it needs to do. Okay.
I gotta do a little retouch. My roots turn up.
You got that ombre look now. It's all good.
Right.
So you kind of touched on it a little bit, but just something you've learned through making your music, through writing your music, that surprised you about yourself?
Something that I've learned while making my music that has surprised me about myself. Oh, just like the timbre, little things that I want to like switch up frequency wise. Like I was like, okay, if I write this, or if I sing it in this octave, like it gives me chills. So I know somebody else will feel that way too. Like switching it up so it doesn't sound like the next thing, or not even that it sounds like the next thing, that it sounds unapologetically like me. And yeah, I like to always like bump up the bar for myself. I like to always challenge myself to find different things while writing, and while creating melodies and arranging my vocals and production that challenges who I was before writing it.
Now, in this part, I have a question. It's kind of a play on your song titles. So it goes, what's the best way to win someone over, whether it be a night out on the town or meeting you in the grocery store? A, someone who pays for the drink. B, someone who presents themselves as a Southern type of delicacy. C, someone who drinks you dry like some good soup. Or D, someone who can behave.
Okay. Maybe C, someone who could drink me dry like some good soup. Because I feel like, if you are already doing that, you're going to behave regardless, and you're probably going to pay for my drink. So, and hopefully you're Southern. So.
All right. So you mentioned that you have an album coming soon, Serial Romantic. Can you tell us what your fans can expect from you on there?
Yes, so you can expect from the first 5 songs music that is going to be up tempo. Like I don't want people sitting until like the sixth song. Of course, I'll let people breathe, but I want people to expect that we're not sad this summer. We're not sad this summer at all, at all. I mean the synopsis of it is being delusional for somebody in the beginning, coming to your senses, seeing, how somebody really is, how it affects you, and then, pouring that love right back into yourself with the outro. So, I don't want nobody to be sad this summer. Yes, they're a little sad, little sad bops here and there, but no, we deserve to be happy, and I want people to dance. So first 6 songs, we up, we moving, we dancing.
We need to be. That is about to be the story of my life. It's going to be a manual for me because I'm getting out that sad girl era right now, okay? And I need some help.
Good job. I'm here with you. I'm here.
Okay, well, that wraps up the interview for us. Thank you so much, Jalen. We are looking forward to this new album, more music, and we'll definitely be watching out. And of course, when you start touring or if you just ever in the area, come by and stop by and hang out with us in Chattanooga.
Of course. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm so grateful. So blessed.